But if you take a human being, you're like, oh, this person has been unproductive for 3 months, but guess what? What's going on in their personal life?
Emotions pull us in and suck us into the chaos of all these things that are happening.
Type a leadership question in a chat GPT. It's going to give you...
Detaching from emotion. There's a million things at any given time that I have to manage, or that people have to manage. We have these overwhelming plates of responsibility, and the only way to recognize the thing that we need to put our focus and effort into is learning how to detach from our emotion, because our emotions pull us in and suck us into the chaos of all these things that are happening. And when we're in that place, we can't see the truth of what needs to get done. So we have to learn how to manage our emotions so that we can take that step back and detach and recognize, okay, this thing right here is going to have the biggest impact on the mission, and then focus of effort on executing on that task. We're not naturally good multitaskers as people like to think they are. And so we have to be able to detach long enough and then focus effort on executing on that thing before we move on to the next.
People ask about, what's the difference? Can you utilize these principles when you're leading your family? And I'm like, yes, you can. And they say, is there any differences? And I say, there actually is. Mm-hmm. And the big difference is that when you're dealing with your family, you're going to be much more emotional, and it's going to take extra effort and extra discipline to be able to detach and not get emotional. Like, that's what it's going to take. That's the biggest difference. There's other little subtleties, but essentially the principles are the same. The biggest difference is when you're, if Jamie's working for me and she does something really stupid and she's getting us in legal trouble, I can be like, hey, Jamie, you're fired. Like, okay, good luck, carry on. When your kid does something stupid, you're like, oh, you can't fire your kids. You're stuck with them. You can't fire your spouse. You're stuck with them. So you get more emotional because you're like, what are you doing? And plus you care about your kids so much. You're like, wait, if you're doing that thing right now, that's gonna put you on a bad course. And you get emotional. And then when you get emotional, you make bad decisions. So think about that when you're dealing with the people that are closest to you. Those are the people that make you the most emotional. People that you don't care about, it's easy to make. That's what's funny. You type a leadership question in a chat GPT, it's going to give you a good answer because it has no emotions. It's just like, oh, the person has been unproductive for 3 months. They should be fired. Boom, done. Like, okay, cool. We'll execute on that. But if you take a human being, you're like, oh, this person has been unproductive for 3 months. But guess what? What's going on in their personal life? Their mom's sick. They got to go to the hospital every day while their mom's going through chemo. Oh, and you're just going to fire them because they've been unproductive? Well, how's that going to work out? What kind of human being are you? So think about that. There's a little bit of emotions involved with this stuff. I always say detach from your emotions, but you're not decoupling from your emotions.
Yeah.
Emotions have to be part of the calculus. They have to be part of the calculus, even with your team. You have to realize, we just got done with the muster and all of a sudden we get tasked with some big project and Jamie hasn't had 1 day off. And I go, hey, Jamie, we got this project due tomorrow. I got to recognize that she's going to be mad at me. And I need to put that in the calculus. I need to say, hey, Jamie, look, I know you're going to be mad because you just got back off this trip and I know you got some things that you're going to do with your kids. We got this project due. If you can help me with this, next weekend is going to be a 5-day weekend. Can you work with me? And you're like, I got you.
Our emotions typically help us identify that there's a problem. Our emotions are really important to helping us recognize, okay, this is a priority. This is a major deal. But we don't make good decisions when we're emotional. So to your point, you can't decouple the emotions. They typically are an indicator that, hey, there's a problem here we need to solve. But we have to be detached enough to be able to see how we can actually solve this problem. And we can't do that when we're caught up in the emotional state.
Yeah. How about that decentralized command? I think you're you've gotten to see decentralized command in its full force from me.
I learned from the best. Yeah. Empower other people to lead. Empower your team to lead, to step up and take things on, to solve problems, give them as much ownership in the projects and plans as you possibly can. And that what's really difficult about that is letting go. At least for me, it's letting go. Like I want to be involved in all those things, especially like you use the muster as an example. The first time I went to the muster and I wasn't doing all the things I had done the muster previous, like you start to get the sense of like, well, wait, what am I here for anymore? And that's an ego play. But the more that I've let go, the more that I recognize I get to see other people step up into roles and take on responsibility and execute and see them thrive, that just is way more rewarding than me stepping in and solving the problem and being the one to save the day and do this awesome thing. That it's about the team and I get to see them just feel valued and contribute to the mission. And that is so much more powerful than anything else I could offer them. So giving them as much responsibility as I possibly can and empowering them to make decisions and solve problems and get things done.
We talk about ego a lot. And again, the reason we have to talk about ego a lot is because that's a human instinct that people have. Their instinct is to believe their own hype. That's what our instinct is. And especially when you're successful, you think, well, you're damn right I'm successful. I should be. I'm pretty awesome. And then the next thing you know, you're believing your own hype, and that's a problem. You have, considering, you're straight A student, gymnast, class president, or were you class president?
I was class president. I wasn't for the whole school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you've been doing really well. When you came on board, you didn't know we were going to be talking about ego, but you had the instinct to be humble enough to be like, okay, I can do this job. Oh, you want me to answer the phone? You want me to book your flight, Leif? Okay, I'll do it. Right? You were humble enough to do that. Where did you pick up that sense of humility, and how has your perspective of ego become clarified while you've been at Echelon Front?
Yeah, listen, I am actually a very competitive person, and I definitely have an ego. 100% it exists. I mean, that's the only reason why I ever wanted to do all the stuff I wanted to do, because there was this ego sense of yes, I can do it all and I can be good at it all. But I also had incredible examples in my life of humility. My mom and dad, once again, set this heavy tone of hey, work ethic and honesty. And they were some of the most humble people, if not the most humble people I've been around. And they had very different lives than I did. They had a difficult life growing up. My mom ran away when she was 15. She put herself in foster care. My dad was poor and just really struggled. And so they propagated that story with our family a lot. And I understood where they came from. And that was not my experience at all. If anything, kind of the world revolved around me as a young kid. But over time, because of that example, I recognized that the ego pushes you to want to win and want to succeed, and that definitely exists in me. But if I wanted to be successful, I had to get really good at managing and subordinating my ego, because I learned very early on that wasn't going to help me build relationships and help me along the path of what I wanted to accomplish.
I'm a little bit surprised.
Why?
Because you're growing up, right? And you were the star of this and the leader of that and the captain of this, and the world revolved around you, the way your parents treated you, everything that you experienced. I've known a lot of people that grew up like that, and they are not humble. I'm just telling you, a lot of people that grow up like that, they're not humble. They think they're the center of the world from the time they're born, and it really hurts them later on in life. But for some reason, you were able to identify that sense of humility, which is, you're very, I don't know if you're lucky or what. Maybe, like you said, I guess the way your parents instilled that in you. But yeah, there's plenty of people that are the star of this, the captain of that. The SEALs is filled with guys like this, right? They were the captain of this, they were the quarterback here, and they did all these things, and they were just winning. And when they win, they just think, oh, I obviously deserve to be worshipped. So, well, let's go ahead and proceed to worship me, everybody. And it hurts, and there's people like this certainly in the business world as well. You rose up through the ranks in your company. Well, why'd you get promoted? 'Cause I'm awesome. Oh, why'd you get selected as the chief operating? 'Cause I'm awesome. Why'd you get selected as the CEO? 'Cause I'm awesome. Well, why'd you get these investors? I got these investors 'cause I'm awesome. And so that can snowball and get out of control, obviously. So that lesson that your parents taught you, I guess it's your parents.
I think it's a combination of the example that I had, but also like I had all those things, and then I moved to LA and very quickly was kind of reminded as a very young girl that I wasn't nearly as good as I thought I was. Like I moved, little fish now in a big pond, and I was like, oh, I'm not the best singer. I'm not the best at this. I'm not the best at this. And I just started a little bit of failure, and recognizing, okay, I had a lot of really cool things growing up, and I was really good in a lot of things. I wasn't the greatest. I wasn't the best at anything. But I think it was the combination of my parents' example and then getting a phase of my life where I really started to recognize, like, you know what, I am not nearly as good as I thought I was. And that set me up for success when I started to take on other opportunities and grow in my life, because I started being willing to accept that. And it's okay. I don't have to be the best. I just have to work hard. I just have to perform. And if I do that, I can accomplish anything that I actually want to try to do. And every time I just focused on the work and the work ethic component that my parents taught me, I succeeded and things happened for me.
And that is leadership.